everybody. I'm Gabriel Theis. I'm the Director of Digital Marketing and Brand Management for Roadmap Writers.
And I'm Nicole Betz, TV writer and current vitamin clerk at Sprouts.
I'm Cruz, writer, producer, and social media manager for Roadmap Writers TikTok. Go follow.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with us here at Roadmap Writers, I'm impressed that you still found this recording that we're doing. Still impressed that the algorithm fed that to you. Yeah, but if you're not familiar with us, we're a screenwriting education and training platform that has helped over 480 writers get signed to representation. We've helped countless other writers get staffed, optioned, produced, and more. If you want to hear more about that, you can visit us at roadmapwriters.com. The link will be in the description below. And the reason we're here today, the three of us are gathered, is that we are launching the Roadmap Writers Human First podcast. This is a screenwriting podcast where we'll interview amazing people to talk about their journey in the entertainment industry. We're going to talk to screenwriters. Obviously, we're going to talk to showrunners, producers, managers. You'll hear firsthand through this podcast how these folks have navigated their careers, the pivotal lessons they've learned along the way, and all the insights that they can share in the matter of a Zoom recording. Now we have a guest for this premiere episode, and we're going to introduce them shortly. But first, I have to ask my co-hosts, what are we watching and what are we reading?
So I just saw Superman,
Oh, what
which
do you
was
think?
which was absolutely amazing. Like all the hype is well deserved and so timely too. I definitely can see why James Gunn sort of went the direction that he did. He basically made a Superman that is a beacon of hope within this dark time that we are currently in. So I really sort of appreciate that sort of filmmaking.
Mm. I gotta see that. I,
You do.
I, I am definitely the type of TV watcher who reverts back to comfort shows, like The Simpsons. You know which seasons I'm talking about. Um, just finished Somebody Somewhere. It's like a warm cup of tea for your eyes. It's wonderful. I'm reading this book right now called Apathy and Other Small Wins. Uh, it's insane, but it's very engaging. I can't remember who wrote it, otherwise I would say that, but y'all have Google.
Wow, I
Uh,
knew one out of the three things that Nicole mentioned. I
The
knew The
Simpsons.
Simpsons. Yes.
Yeah. Are you caught up on the current Simpsons?
Uh-uh. No thanks.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Because I saw that Marge died on like an Instagram post, but
Yeah,
I'm not caught up, so I don't know if that's like, is it like an Elseworld story? Is it like one of those Halloween horrors?
I
Like,
think it's like a clickbait ending. You know, they're gonna
yeah,
like
next
how
season they're gonna make it was a dream or something.
like
yeah,
how Superman died in the 90s, you know.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
I like
speaking
how
of
you
super,
brought
yeah.
that
I know. I
around.
love that. I love
yeah.
that full circle.
We believe in what is it, the ring theory? Is that what Dan Harmon uses? The ring
Oh yeah,
theory
the
of
Yeah.
circle,
storytelling?
story circle.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
story circle, yeah.
Story circle.
Yeah, speaking of rings, in addition to also seeing Superman in theaters, which I'm still ruminating on it, but I can say I really adored it. It's my favorite version of the character since Christopher Reeve, for sure. And I'm
Definitely.
planning to see it a second time in theaters, which is actually rare for me these days because it's as much as I love going to the theaters, just finding the time is the biggest struggle. Finding the time and the money,
I was gonna
popcorn ain't
say,
Yeah.
cheap.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you stay for the end credits?
So when people say the end credits, I'm not sure what they mean because I say for something that happened, I think, in the middle of the credits. Don't know
Yeah.
if
So
that's
that
what people are
yeah.
referring
So
to.
so so there's a mid credit scene and then there's an end credit scene.
Oh, Gabe, you missed it.
I did miss that. I did miss that. I don't
Okay.
even know if I'm a believer in end credits anymore. I'm getting to be a
You're a
big
believer and get to the car and get back home. That's what you're
beat the
It's
believing.
traffic.
it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
overdone. It's overdone at this point. You
Yeah.
have a
Yes.
point, yeah.
But speaking of rings, uh
Again.
Again, it's a circle.
We did a circle around the circle.
Yeah.
Me and my wife watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the extended editions. That's 12 hours for those who have not had the pleasure of watching all three of those extended editions. And
Is this your first time
no, but it was my wife's first time, and now she is a
divorcing you?
Ringy. It's quite the opposite, GT. It's made our marriage stronger than ever. She's no, she's all in on Lord of the Rings right now. We are gonna read the books next,
Oh,
which
Oh
was
wow.
a surprising turn of development because
Hmm.
I've had a pretty casual fandom for those movies. I'm somebody who like my favorite Peter Jackson movie is his 3 hour King Kong remake. Uh, so
whoa,
so
oh,
I come at these movies from a different vantage point, but a they are pretty marvelous entertainment, and b you know thinking as a screenwriter, like you have the task of turning these three mammoth books into you know not only like loyal adaptations, faithful adaptations, but stuff that will serve as very palatable blockbuster entertainment. Each movie has to have 3 acts and has to. I don't know. When I think about all the craft that went into those movies, that was actually pretty staggering, and it snuck up on me how much I enjoyed rewatching them.
I'm surprised you did this while moving. How'd you find the
This is
time?
before, yeah. So for anybody who's listening on audio and can't see how barren my background is, I have just moved, so things are still in boxes, need to be unpacked. But I moved just a few days ago. Yeah, we got into the new apartment a few days ago. But this is something the Lord of the Rings marathon was pre the move. Maybe it was us trying to relish in the little bit of peace we had left before the movers came in and boxed up our whole lives, and
Yeah.
we had to
Yeah.
start anew. Yeah, but it was a good time. If anybody has seen those theatrical editions and want to check out the extended, I think you definitely need to see the extended Return of the King. I don't know how important it is to see the extended edition of the first two. If you're somebody who's very precious, you know,
Yeah.
Gollum, precious to
Ah,
their
see,
time.
hey.
Yeah. But I will say this, Alamo Draft House, I think they still do this. They do a yearly extended edition marathon. So that's a whole day at the theater watching Lord of the Rings. I do plan on attending the next one if I can.
That's cool.
Yeah, love it.
All right. So now that we've nerded out, I think that's a good time to introduce our first guest, our first ever guest.
Let's do it.
Yes.
And this is really perfect because our guest today is a screenwriter, director, and producer who is going to be directing their uh, directorial debut this fall. We're talking to Roy Hsu, who is making Cheap AF, which is a rom com that stars Arden Show and Margaret Show. It follows the story of a money saving influencer seeking her big break who risks losing her wedding and relationship when she goes all out to win the wedding magazine's best wedding on a budget social media competition. I'll link the headline article announcing this production in the description below. So we're talking to Roy, one, because I love rom-coms. I don't know about my co-host, but I love rom-coms. And I'm just
Nicole hates rom-coms.
I hate
Hates them
love.
with hates them with a passion.
shaking her fist at When Harry Met Sally.
No, I'm excited. Like, especially.
I was just kidding. Nicole's all about the
Oh.
rom-coms. So for people who don't get my sarcasm just yet.
Yeah. No, it's like, usually females write rom-coms. I don't know. I think it'll be fun.
That's something I haven't really taken into consideration. I think,
Mhm.
obviously the big ones are Nora Ephron,
Right.
Nancy Myers. Uh, Now I'm going to be thinking about is there one rom com by a guy that I can name, written by a guy?
Yeah.
They're directed
Mm.
by men. Rob Reiner directed When Harry Met Sally, but yeah, written
Right.
by a guy. Yeah, we'll have to
I
by
got
the
to
end of the
thinking.
recording, circle back to this.
Yeah,
Ring
do our
period,
research.
story circle. So yeah, we're not only talking to Roy because I like rom-coms and Nicole hates them. We're talking we're talking to Roy because Roadmap Writers played a role, which we're very proud to say, in the story of this script getting produced. So we're going to talk to Roy about the production, about Roadmap's part in it, how he got people like Margaret Cho to be part of it. Yeah, so before we jump into the interview, we're going to do an ad break. We're going to do a sponsorship break. And in our case, the sponsor of this podcast is ourselves. So we'll be right back after this brief message. Hello, everyone. Welcome to 3 Questions with Roadmap Execs, where we hear directly from the folks in the Roadmap roster. Today, I'm joined by Javi Grillo-Marxuach, one of the Emmy Award-winning producers of Lost, and Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. His other credits include The Witcher, Cowboy Bebop, and more. Question 1. What impresses you most about a screenplay?
A good screenplay obviously is going to have great characters and a great plot, and those two melt together into a great story. The basics of what's going to make a great screenplay great are going to be there no matter what. But I think the thing that gets me excited is when the writer actually looks like they put some thought into their prose and how they express themselves on the page.
What is reoccurring advice that you give to writers?
The most important thing is that you never stop creating. The business is going to change. Trends are going to come and go. The 1-hour drama will die many deaths before your career is done. The half-hour comedy will die many deaths before your career is done. Every form of human expression will be declared dead at least once while you're alive. But what ultimately, is going to matter is that you keep creating and that you keep producing new material and that you keep improving.
What's your favorite thing about working with Roadmap writers?
Anybody who chooses to be a screenwriter is bringing an enormous amount of passion into this. People don't just decide to become screenwriters. Across the board, a lot of the people that I work with at Roadmap are just so motivated and so passionate. And that comes across in the writing, that comes across in how they present themselves to you. And I think that's the most exciting thing, is just being around writers who care about screenwriting and want to be screenwriters and who feel passionate about screenwriting, And I think that ultimately, passion is such an important thing, and to just be around the energy of those who want it very badly is invigorating to somebody like me.
You're actually making history right now because you are the first guest of the Roadmap Writers podcast.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I feel honored.
The inaugural episode.
Wow. I feel very honored, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're really excited to have you. It really worked out perfectly. What better way to kick off the Roadmap Writers podcast other than to talk to a writer who worked with Roadmap and now has, an amazing success story.
Yeah, so I guess I started working with Roadmap maybe like 4.5 years ago. Like I had finished as I was finishing one of my first screenplays, and got into top tier, and I was showing people around. And as I was doing that, over the couple of years, like my first year, I was like, okay, finish my screenplay, start showing around, got some good feedback, start winning some entering contests, winning some awards. Did that. Then the next year, I got my first option. So great, got that. And then the third year, I was like, okay, what else can I do? And I was going through all of the festivals, and I was going to AF, Austin Film Festival, and one time I was in Sundance, and I just got really curious, and I started because I was talking to this real estate developer about film financing, and realized how real estate actually funds a lot of Hollywood. And one of the reasons is that there's different, I won't go into details, but different tax laws, and there's different ways that you can maneuver money. And my day job is I work in finance. And suddenly I was like, wow, I can actually combine my different experiences there's the finance side, there's the screenwriting side, and before I was in finance, I was in advertising, so I understood the marketing side. And with that, I just decided that I wanted to actually go into more of the producing side, because that's what a producer is. It's all about business, connecting all of these different pieces. And it's from there, I got involved with a couple of projects, started moving things forward. I met Roadmap's been very instrumental, because as much as people think about it as the writers and meeting people, but a lot of my business partners ended up being people that I met as a writer. But as I transitioned to a producer, I'm actually working with them in a different capacity. And so it's really important that you never know what can come about things, right? So I was helping a couple of first-time directors, and I was trying to see how I could move their projects forward, and then realized, why aren't I doing this for myself? And so taking a lot of things that I learned, I looked at all my scripts, and I decided, Cheap AF was the script that was the right budget. I could rewrite it to make it much more contained. I could actually do it as my, it was the right scope for a first-time director. And that's kind of how that came about. And when I started doing that, I had my producing partners that I was already working with other projects on. And so a group of ferrets. So we just all jumped on board, and that's kind of how that happened.
Wow.
Just a big round of applause.
Yeah, I love that. I love you weren't waiting around for things to happen. You were like, I'm gonna go do this.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this industry. There's like, you'll hear this over and over. There's no one way to get in. There's no one way to break, right? And at the end of the day, you just have to figure out what works for you. Like some people, it works like you go into a writer's room or something, you move it up that way. Some other, like for me, I just realized that the way to think about it is, how can you be additive to someone's process? And that's where, I didn't really think that my experience in both advertising and finance would come into play, but it did.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to talk to people about the investment side of film, as well as the marketing side, the analytics side. And, you just meet people. And even now, like I'm working on this unscripted TV show with someone I met at Austin about 5 years ago, one of the first people I met at Austin. But we just became friends, right? And it just so happened when the opportunity came, that's how it happens. You just never know.
Yeah. And being able to talk finance is very important in this business.
Yeah.
There's a whole category of films that were funded by dentists, basically, or, like people just call their own dentist, and then that dentist referred another dentist. And, I think that's how like a lot of like really small indie success story stuff, like The Evil Dead is the first one that comes to mind. And I feel like that's a success story that you don't hear about as often these days.
Yeah, I mean, I think this, as the industry consolidates more, and I mean, let's face it, just look at the business realities, right? Like TV is harder and harder to get by. Studio films are becoming lower and lower budget, quote unquote. And everyone in this industry, you have to wear multiple hats, right? It's just not possible, and you have to make your own opportunities. And the best way is just, what else can you offer someone? I feel like sometimes I talk to writers, and they're all about getting their projects made or sold or whatever, and that's okay. But if that's what you're about and that's what you talk to someone about, there's no reason for them to contact you or talk to you about anything else, because you stated that is all you're interested in, right? And versus you're missing a huge opportunity for not only for also personal growth, because I found that people will give you the time if you're just nice. You ask questions. Like I was just talking to people, like and one reason why I started working with a group of ferrets is they optioned one of my screenplays, but I was asking them questions. They were more than happy to answer it, and then I was like, how can I be additive? And then we started working on little projects here and there, and then it just grew. You learn a lot about the industry wearing multiple hats. You won't get the opportunity to wear multiple hats if you're all about just your own project.
So it's really interesting that you're talking about that and producing because it looks like the producers that are on your film are also, you also work with them on a film called Hanky Panky, which like it had a very unorthodox uh, shoot. So can you talk about like your process with that and how crazy or not the process was?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, Hanky Panky, I was just an executive producer, right? So, and here's what I will tell everyone. It's important. Sometimes certain terms can have different meanings, or multiple meanings, right? And just because someone has the term producer, you really have to go, what did they actually do? What does the producer mean on this project, right? So Hanky Panky, I was much more peripherally attached. So I'll put it that way. But it was one of the first projects that I was helping out on, and that was an ultra low budget like horror comedy, which is great. And at the end of the day, you know, the most important thing is for anyone is just be open to helping other people out, and I've I've been introduced to some of my most important contacts by helping other people out, in ways like, just it just sort of happened. Like, one of my most important contacts right now was a referral from this other producer that I met, one of the first producers I met. And I was just helping him out because he had this other business that he was consulting startups about their marketing. And that was one area that like kind of my specialty. So I was just helping one of his startups. And then from there, we built a relationship and it went back to film. Right. And, just be helpful, see what you can do. And there's so much of in this industry of people go me. I remember first time I went to Austin Film Festival, like literally I didn't have a screenplay, I didn't have anything done. I literally was just trying to get the lay of the land, and literally people would come up to me and they would talk, and they would talk about the projects, and they would ask me what I was working on, and I said, oh, I'm just here just to explore, like I don't have anything done, and they would just turn around and just leave immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. You don't know who you're going to be talking to, right?
Yep.
Right.
And so but the industry is filled with people like that, and if you're not like that, that's how you actually get things done.
Mm-hmm.
How did you connect with people? So, as you said, you didn't have a project, you didn't have anything going on. Some people wouldn't give you the time of day. So, what was your way of actually connecting with people in Austin?
Yeah, one of the first, like literally, I think the first person I met there was from Interby Entertainment, and we just literally were chatting at the bar, and I didn't have anything done, but we were just talking, and we started working together a couple of years later. Like, I mean, like I actually entered the Austin Film Festival and got semifinalists in the category they were sponsoring. Interestingly enough, but he exchanged his numbers, and we just started talking, and we just became friendly, and that's ultimately, the best thing I could say is,
Not having an agenda is what you're
yeah.
saying. It's like you come in and you connect with somebody, don't have an agenda, just try to connect with the person.
And this is the most important thing. People work with people like they know and they like. And who are people that you know and you like? Friends. So you become friends with them. But if it's not genuine that you want to try to become friends with someone, people can sense that. And that's the problem, is like when people, like, yeah, you're meeting people, but just realize that this is a who you know business of people, and people want to work with people they trust, right?
Mhm.
And there are people who in the industry that people do not trust, and they move around and they go through people. And again, like that's not the type of business that person I want to be in.
I like how so much of like screenwriting wisdom kind of comes down to just be like a good person, like all the kind of
Be a human first.
That's why this is the Human First podcast. But really, when you think about building relationships outside of the screenwriting industry, building relationships that are really meaningful and mutually beneficial, not in a transactional way, but like, they're built on the same tenets.
Meet everyone. Like you never know. Like when when the deadline article came out, right? So some people reached out to me, like I didn't know, like on Facebook, and you know, there's frankly not that many Asian-led features out there, right? So there were some different people who reached out to me that's part of the AAPI community, and we just started chatting. I had generals with them, several of them, right? And some of them, it was like, well, I can't help them with my projects, but you know, if I like them, and depending on what they did in the industry, whether it's a set designer or like whoever, like I referred some of them on to people who I knew were looking for someone like that, right? And so it's just, but part of it is like, why did I meet with them? Because they reached out. When they reached out, it wasn't a generic message.
Yes.
And it was genuine that they wanted to meet for something, like, you know, and that's how it happens, right? And it's just, I don't even know how people get my contact information. I have to be perfectly honest. Like, I'm not like exactly advertising, but I get queries, cold queries, and some of them are really creepy.
You should check your IMDb Pro. It might be there.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, and it's
What-
all right if someone does that, but then it's clear that they're spamming people. Like, that's the
Yes.
best way I could describe it. It was like they clearly did not take the time to research anything other than my email,
Yep. Yep.
and that's a problem. So you know,
Yeah.
and that's but again, even like I'm saying, like, you know, I'm just relatively starting and I'm getting the cold queries, right? So
Is there one that's like a creepy message that stands out to you?
well, you know, I guess creepy is not the right answer, as much as like people should know I mean, partly like when someone says query in the email line, the first time I got that, I had to open it just to see, because it's like, why would you do that? Right? But it's just, it's a kind of a sign of inexperience, especially when this was like a 2-page email with no log line. And it was a description of what the screenplay was about, but it wasn't in any type of industry format. Like, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah. And like you said, it could have been sent to anybody. Like,
It probably was.
and it was, yeah. I get those
Everybody.
too. Yeah.
Anybody and everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, as a you know, first time director, but going forward as a director, the most important thing a director can do is have relationship with talent, right? And at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. So as writers, like, everything is about being able to have good relationships with people that maybe it's not for you. Maybe you know this one person, they know someone they can refer you to, right? They're not going to refer someone unless, you know, they actually like you.
Mhm.
Well, let's talk more about this project, Cheap AF, because what caught my eye too is that not only was this a major win for you as a screenwriter, but that this is going to be your directorial debut. And as an aspiring writer and a director myself, you know, you got to celebrate those wins whenever you see them, because you know, emerging writers need to fight for opportunities like that all the time. So can you walk us through the process of not only getting the script greenlit, getting it into production, but getting yourself in the director's chair?
I will put it, I'll say the most important thing that everyone in the industry needs to do and know is finance. You know, and I mean, at the end of the day, like, as much as people say like it's a it's a creative led industry, it's not. It's a finance led industry. If you get the money, you can get it done, right? And the biggest thing that I see a problem with directors, first time directors, and I've met with a couple that I decided not to even go attempt on their project, is they did not understand the business side. Like, I had this one writer, you know, within the first week when I asked for the budget, I asked for the line budget. They gave me 3 different budgets. They all didn't correlate with each other. It was supposed to be it was miscategorized. Like they were certain that they could film under $500,000, but I'm like, how is that possible when you're when on the literally on the line budget it said this was a ultra low budget, but it was 500,000, which was modified low budget, which has a different rate system. So at that point in time, I was like, I can't trust anything they say about the budget, but yet they were convinced. And at the end of the day, you know what they said to me? It was like, oh, well, I can connect you to my line producer if you want. And I was like, well, wait a minute, this is your project. Like, you should be on top of this. Like, if you're not the finance person, you need to make sure the finance person is with you in that conversation, right? And if this is not your forte, but everyone should have a basic understanding of how a film gets financed and what the different parts are. Because if you don't, and you just want to say like, I just want to concentrate on my part, chances are it will be no part, because like if I look at this director, I'm like, well, this director is probably going to go over budget, and they're not going to care. And they go, well, you're the producer, you're supposed to get more money. And I don't want to be put in that situation. Right. And so what I'm saying about my own film is like the best thing, like I approached it from financing first. Right. So thinking about methodically about how a film is going to get financed, how is it going to get sold. If you have a first-time director and your film is too big, you're going to have a hard time selling it. You have to start off appropriate budget. And so that's why I selected the script that I got. And then from there, it's really important that you work with a team. The other thing that people do is they try to go along, right? Like, I know I don't know, there's things I don't know. That's why I had the experienced producers, because the casting side is really, really, really important, right? If you don't cast correctly, you won't be able to sell later. And so that's where the collaboration of like getting other people on board, and getting people, I got my casting director, he worked on The Witches, he worked on Gordita Chronicles. And so he knew a lot of people, like, and getting someone, when you get a team that's done significant things and they believe in a project, that's going to boost you up too. And so that's why it's, again, relationships are really, really important. In terms of becoming the first-time director, what other things that you need to do is when you go out to cast and talent, right? I'd say I'm fortunate I can't announce who else I have, but I pretty much got all my first-time, most of my first picks have said yes. And the ones that didn't, I got reads off of them, right? That's not, and I've been told that was not common, but part of that is like, why did you choose your talent? Why did you want them, right? And so there were specific reasons. I wrote them personal letters. I wrote them exactly why I was thinking about them. And it go much further than just saying, I really like you as an actor. That's like, there's in this industry, particularly people who are experienced, right? Not everything is about money. So if something speaks to them and something really, they'll consider things. This is why, why did Charlize Theron decide to do Monster?
Yeah.
Something about the story spoke to them, and she was approached. Like, you got to think about these things. And people sometimes approach these stars simply because they think that the script is so great. That's not going to do it.
No, you're so right. Gosh, just listening to you talk, I would trust you with my life, Roy.
At least your finances, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I need help.
Yeah.
What's the saying? Death and taxes.
Yeah.
I'd say if people got a chance to be a producer or help a producer in any way, like, do it. You'll learn a lot. And it's really important that people understand things like how the incentives work. Like, things become so much more feasible if you get an incentive and you qualify for an incentive. And you have to know how something gets financed. Like you shoot in Canada, you have to have a Canadian star and a Canadian producer to get the incentive, but the incentives are much bigger than the US. If you shoot in the US, there are certain tax breaks that certain types of people like real estate could actually benefit from only if they're shot in the US. So you have to know these things, and that's where you can go on Rapbook, you can read up on all of the stuff. Like people need to know as much about the different aspects of the business as possible.
It's interesting that you're talking about the casting, because I was wondering if there was any second thoughts you might have had coming out the gate with an all Asian American cast. Because typically Hollywood is sometimes, hesitant about that,
So
and that it might be safer to have a multi-ethnic class. Or did the success of like Crazy Rich Asians, Everything Everywhere All at Once, that sort of give you like the bolstering that you needed to move forward with it?
um well, actually my cast is only about 50% Asian.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
The leading man that I cannot announce is actually a storyline also white. So, and because like the story itself is to me an Asian. I say this that this is when I started thinking really hard about like something that could go into wide distribution. This is the only second. Actually, maybe like I can only think of two other feature films that starred an Asian American woman that actually takes place in the US.
What are the
And
other ones?
um, To All the Boys I Love, which is a high school, and then Always Be My Maybe.
Mm.
Every other one, like Crazy Rich Asian, all took place in Asia. And part of this is, I say this is that, to me, the Asian American experience is it's a melting pot, right? Like I don't have all Asian friends. So like having an all Asian cast for Asian, something that takes place is like weird.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Yeah.
So let me start there. And then, but in terms of like the leads, you know, um, you know, there are stars. Like, are there fewer stars? Clearly, there are fewer stars. But Arden, she was the lead on Netflix Partner Track. She was in Teen Wolf, right? Like, so she clearly has credentials as well as Margaret Cho. Um, I have to say I'm very lucky to be working with them.
Are your other projects, are they rom-coms as well? And what is it about the rom-com that has drawn you to them?
Am I working on the rom-com? No, I'm not actually. I'm not really working on. I mean, part of it is like, I write more comedy, and my comedy style comedy is a little more of a throwback to the '90s, which,
Very heavy rom-com days.
yeah. Well, it's also much more a hard comedy, and so it's um, you don't see much of it out right now.
No.
And sadly, it's like there's certain styles that come, right? And one of the problems with that type of comedy is frankly, like it doesn't necessarily translate well in the international market, because comedy can be very culturally specific. And because of that, it's harder to get it financed because you can't get international pre-sales. And so therefore, like, which forces like certain types of genres like comedies, like you have to focus on the US market, which means that you have to have a lower budget. And again, this is understanding the finance part of it, right? So, but yeah, rom-coms, like my issue with a lot of comedies in general is like I don't find them funny. They're lighthearted dramas that you might smile one and then now and then, but I was like, I watch these things, I'm like waiting for a joke.
Those hard laughs, those
Yeah.
the hard comedy. So we've heard a few narratives, right, about the state of the comedy, about the state of the rom-com. Comedy is not selling, and people have different, like they point fingers to different, like who killed comedy? Was it the MCU? Was it the internet,
Yeah,
international
what
markets?
was it? Woke culture.
Was it woke culture? So
Yeah.
given that that's the landscape, can you tell us more about your voice as a writer in kind of navigating the fact that, as somebody who also loves, 90s era comedy, how do you pay like how do you pay homage to that or
Yeah.
learn from that in 2025, post 2025?
I will say this for anyone who's looking to do something with comedy. Comedy is innately risky because it can be so specific to the point that like some people are going to find something funny and some people aren't, right? There are people who watch Seinfeld who never found it funny. Like that is just a reality, right? And like there is I'll put it this way, there was a South by Southwest comedy winner, Asian story, I should say. I watched it. I wanted to like it, but I didn't find anything funny, right? But it won best comedy, right? And so comedy by its nature is risky in that regard. Like people will get drama, right?
Yeah.
And this is one reason why comedy is harder to finance. That being said, I will say this is the best lesson that I learned, is and this goes the case with every single screenplay, is when I was at Austin Film Festival, I was in a roundtable with Alec Berg, who was the executive producer of Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? Some people get Larry David and some people don't. And I told him about this one project that I had. I was like, I don't know what to do with, because either people hate it and they don't get what I'm talking about, or they think it's brilliant. And he said, in comedy, you have to go for it. It has to be angular. There's going to be a specific audience who likes it. And when I told him about this, and he's like, you have something there. You have something that will work then. Projects that people generally like don't get produced. Projects that people either hate or love get produced. Because if it's hate or love, someone's going to love it so much that they want to push it through.
Yeah.
Right? One of the reasons why I got involved in this one, the project, was the first time, it was not the first time director, but I took a look at his previous project. It got like 4.5 stars on Rotten Tomatoes or something, right? On its surface, didn't look very good. But when you looked at the actual comments, they were all 1s and 2s or 9s and 10s. Right?
Yeah.
And when I looked at that and then I read the comments, then I knew, okay, this guy hit a chord with someone, and I understood why people would hate it. It dealt with the devil. And if you don't believe in Christianity, why would you find this thing scary?
Yeah.
But the people who did thought it was one of the best movies ever. They had a clear audience, right? And that's what's going to happen with comedy. Like, you're going to write something and there's going to be some people who just don't laugh, don't like it. But did it elicit a strong emotion that there was a core audience that will, this is how things become underground hits. This is how things become cult classics, because there was a group of people who absolutely loved it. The comedy that ranks at 6 or 7 is forgettable.
But you brought up Seinfeld. I think when they were getting Seinfeld off the ground, Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David, there were some people at NBC who were so resistant to it, who just didn't get it, to the point where they made a whole season 4 of Seinfeld, dramatizing just how much some people at NBC did not like it. And even to this day, I know Seinfeld skeptics.
Yeah.
I am people. I never really got Seinfeld.
That's not the point, GT. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
But I did really enjoy Curb Your Enthusiasm. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, the dichotomy.
But at the end of the day, whether I liked Seinfeld or not, it's irrelevant. It had a huge following and had a very strong following. The people who fervently loved it, right? Like, you look at any, even let's take a look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I know people who absolutely hate that show. They think it's the dumbest thing ever, right? And it's totally a cult classic, right? People love it. People loved it. But guess what? It was one of the lowest ranked WB shows they had. right? But they had an audience because the people who loved it really loved it. And that's the best advice I can give to someone is like, be careful about like, when you get feedback from people, it's very easy to try to appease everyone. Like if you have something that people either hate or love, don't change anything, right? Because once you make it in the middle, then no one wants it.
Yeah, if you're trying to please everybody, you're going to please nobody. Again, just a basic fact of life that I think people like. We have such tunnel vision about screenwriting or the film industry as a craft that we forget that it's tethered to the same basic facts of life. I mean, if you're a person who tries to please everybody, I mean, naturally you'll learn pretty quick that you're actually pleasing nobody, at least not to any kind of memorable impression.
And
I refuse to believe that there are people that hate Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I have never met one, and if they do, and if I do meet them, I will just completely forget them that they ever existed. Anyways.
Really? Okay. I think there's a Joss Whedon shaped elephant in the room around Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
So I think
he who must not be named.
Yeah.
Yes. One thing I will warn everyone about is contests.
Yes.
First of all, contests don't mean anything. Like I'm just going to tell you, like I get people send me like, oh, this got like quarterfinals, finals, semifinals, like, and I read them going, I don't know how. All right.
Yes.
And the reality is you don't know who their first reader is. You don't know who it is. Like you could have someone just because someone else liked it doesn't mean I'm going to like it. And for the same reason that if a script that is loved or hated will get produced, if you have one of those things, chances are you will never win a contest. You will get to a point in which someone hates it. So winners of contests are oftentimes winners of mediocrity.
Yeah.
That's ours.
I was also going to say, don't misinterpret Roy's advice because sometimes your script is just bad. Sometimes it just sucks.
No, it doesn't, Nicole. Come on.
Shots fired.
The readers just didn't get it. It's so amazing that Nicole said that because I was
caught astray there.
I was about to say the week that I got signed to my manager, the script that he signed me for failed to place at I think the free TSL screenwriting contest. That's that very same week. So take for that lesson what you will. But even when I think about like the filmmakers that seem to really grab people's attention right now, they tend to be polarizing in some way, either as a person, stuff they do in their personal life, but with people who grab us because of their body of work. I mean, there's a polarizing effect there. I don't know if we want to name names. I remember that M. Night Shyamalan was, he went from being completely loved to completely hated. And now he is the most split down the middle 50-50 love-hate filmmaker, with a, pretty massive audience that I can think of. Unless you're in Philly. Yeah.
And he will always get films made because of that, because it doesn't matter that half the people hate him. It matters that half the people love him. And, and here's the thing. It's just like, this is a very subjective industry. So I going through this, I realized that I sometimes have a hard time watching TV. And I'll tell you why, because TV tends to be very character driven. And sometimes I feel like nothing happens. Right. Like I'll be perfectly honest. Like, and I realized through myself that I tend to like plot driven stories. Does that mean that I'm wrong? That that I would pass by like a big character driven story that like Roma or something that was Oscar nominated? Like, no, it's a personal opinion, right? And so we have to recognize that. Like, you look at Greta
Gerwig.
Yeah, Gerwig. Yeah, I was like,
Thunberg.
Like, I personally did not like Lady Bird. I liked Barbie quite a bit, right? But Lady Bird, I watched it and I really had to think about why I didn't really go with it. But again, it was a slice of life movie, and it clearly had an audience. But I generally just don't like slice of life movies. And that's just a personal preference, right? It did not mean that Lady Bird was not a good movie, that there was an audience for it. And if someone liked it, great.
Yeah. And like sometimes people just hate watch things as well, which is still counts as a view.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's, sometimes like, we just, it just, it's just like, again, try like the best thing I could say to writers is don't try to please everyone. Like you need like if okay, if you get feedback and no one likes it, you have something.
What if your mom likes
what
it?
Nicole said.
Yeah, what if your mom likes it? How about that? Is that
like look like all right, I'll give you a perfect example of humor. Like either someone's going to get my sense of humor or not. Like I like the campy side of humor, right? So I'll tell you, like the first screenplay that I got optioned, I had entered it for years into Austin Film Festival. It could never even get to quarterfinalists. This is things that had been made finalists up in much more difficult competitions and whatever, right? Like, and I couldn't even get the quarterfinalists in Austin. And what came back was like people just didn't find it funny. And so it'll be interesting to see how your reaction is when I tell you what it is. Okay. The Dream Life of a Clown. So picture this, we got one laugh.
I love it.
Picture this world where clowns are the upper echelon of celebrity, and an up-and-coming clown is trying to hide the fact that he's Asian when he gains success when mistaken for white. I've had people that have talked about literally start shaking and can't get away from me fast enough because they're so scared of clowns. I had people who thought it was brilliant, and I had people who just said it wasn't funny. And I have this scene in which this guy goes in to try to get an agent, and he walks in, and it ends up being gay clown porn, in which he goes into a room which there was a clown daddy with a rainbow paddle banging him, and a baby clown going dada dada, right? And like
Right.
this is a perfect test case.
I know.
Email me this.
You had to be a gay clown porn.
Gay clown porn, yeah.
I had people who said that it wasn't funny.
You know what? I think
I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, just real quick. Is the title called Whiteface?
No, that
It
I
is
actually
now.
Yeah. I had like
no, it's called gay clown porn, right?
Yeah, there's this whole thing about putting
That's
on
a
your
genre.
face, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So, but yeah, like I mean, I don't know. Like I keep thinking of like, how can someone not laugh at this ridiculous scene about this clown daddy going like with this jingling rainbow sling, right? Like,
Clown daddy.
And look how passionate you are talking about it. I love it.
He really is. He got animated. Speaking of writing, I wanted to get into your process. With your script, Cheap AF, like how long did it take you to write that, like from concept to fade out?
Yeah. Well, that one took me longer because I kind of wrote it and then I stepped away from it for about 8 months because I really had to think about it. The restructuring, because like it was like third screenplay I wrote, and so therefore, like I was still questioning myself in terms of like things like that. Like if I was to write it now, I could write it much faster. Like my last screenplay I wrote in like 3 months. It's like beginning to end with like several revisions, right?
Nice.
But that one, sorry, what was your question?
I was just wondering how long it took you. Like from the concept of the story to the end of it. It actually was wondering if you did any revisions once you actually casted, like actually got your casting choices.
Oh, I'm still getting producer notes.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm hoping to lock it down like this week or something. But it's never done until you actually finish shooting. That's just how it is. You have to lock it down far enough so that you can give the cast so they can start memorizing it. But it's never actually fully done. And again, like things are subjective, right? So That being said, a script does not need to be perfect in order to attract talent and producers. If someone really liked something, if you hear comments of like, oh, it's not quite ready, that's not the reason. Like they're just not interested. Like frankly, right? If they were interested, and you have something, they'll continue working on it. They may work on with you to the point that it's 85% there. We can show talent, get a talent attached, and continue working on it. That is very normal, right? So if you think it's because you're getting feedback, oh, it's not ready, blah 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 blah. Yeah, maybe it needs to be taken a little further along. But at some point in time, if it's fairly damn good, like just decently good, that's not the reason why someone's saying no.
Yeah.
So from the standpoint of like writing, like that one took me probably like over a year. Again, because it was like on again, off again. Comedy in specifically, like as an actor too, like when I was casting, like I mean this tells you we got 2,800 auditions for one role.
Wow.
All right, and one person rose to the top. I can't quite announce him yet, but one person rose to the top. He had a hit TV show, and he didn't follow the script. Like he followed the script enough to that we got the gist of what he was supposed to say, but he didn't actually read exactly what was on the page. He added his own thing. And in comedy, like if you're getting comedians and stuff, your script is probably not going to match what they say on screen because they're going to add their own things.
Yeah.
And as a director, you have to be open to that. Like, and you should want people who do that. So it's like careful about being a writer director that's too precious to your own words and not allowing the actor to bring in something to make it real to them, which will make it the character more real.
Yeah. And people like to feel like they're contributing.
Mhm.
So I get a lot of notes.
Yeah. And literally this one actor rose to the top. He did not, like, if you transcribe what he did and you saw the original script, yeah, there's similarities, but so much of it changed.
And as a writer and director, how do you marry your whatever amount of kind of loyalty you have for your own script, your own words, versus the need to make this the best version of itself on the day that you're filming it, through a collaborative process?
The collaborative is the word that you said. Then people need to think about you need to be flexible enough just to at least be open to something. Like, this is the thing that I've always heard about directing, and this is how I'm going to be doing it. Like, you get someone, like, and this is what I've told the actor, right? Do what was asked, and then try to do one that was not asked, and that's your own take, right? Make sure you give them what they want, and then explore, right? And ultimately, that's what I'm looking for. But I need to make sure I get the bare minimum, and then give them enough space to do another take or other things to see what else that they can produce, because that's where you get the golden moments.
Love it. Well,
Yeah.
maybe we should start wrapping it up. Does anybody though have final questions for Roy? We have a final question that we ask all the guests, but anything else on the topic?
All the guests that have been on before you. The load of people that we've had already.
The long, proud tradition that we've carried on since we started recording the episode today.
Yes, yeah, all of an hour ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was great. I mean, could listen to you talk all day.
So I do want to ask you, Roy, what's the film, television show, book, TikTok, whatever that got you wanting to be in the business? What made you want to be a screenwriter, a director? What's that North Star that guided you?
All right, so I'll tell you the moment, and it wasn't a movie or anything. So I was also a photographer for about 15 years, right? And you know how like people describe like writing and pitching your idea as kind of trauma porn, because like everyone's asking you like what inspired this, and you have to talk about like your trauma that you went through, like all this stuff. And I mentioned this because what actually got me into writing was this one summer. I was watching I was taking this film class because I was in between jobs, and I was like, oh, got the summer off, so I taking the summer intensive at the film school Seattle, and I was on YouTube and I saw this interview with Steven Spielberg discussing how he discovered he was dyslexic in his 50s, and I thought it was an interesting thing, and I started watching it. And as he started describing how he reads, that's how I figured out I was dyslexic.
Oh,
And
wow.
I always had this aversion and fear of writing. And so when I was able to put in place why, and listening to him, like, you know, writing, like how he approached things, that's what inspired me to go, I have stories to write, I had to tell, and I became a writer with a good proofreader. So that's what inspired me.
Wow.
I love that.
Amazing.
That's a great answer. It's not like one movie. Yeah. Wow. It's like,
It was overcoming a fear, and
yeah.
then I think the best writers constantly overcome fear, because we have to, in a very cathartic way, write about our traumas, not knowing if people will understand what parts of us we actually wrote about. I mean, I'm sure every writer will say this, like, because, and it's one of those things when someone says like, oh, something's not realistic, and you're just like, well, that happened to me, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
many bars this
Yeah.
episode. I
Yeah.
love it. Are there, as part of the social media committee here at Roadmap, are there any socials you'd like to plug?
Socials, like to plug, my
Yeah,
socials.
like, yeah, your socials. Yeah, your socials.
Sorry.
Or
Sock hops.
you can
Or the
also
film
mention any,
socials. Yeah.
any Instagram accounts you follow, accidentally Wes Anderson, if there's something like that you want to give a
If
shout
you
out to.
Yeah.
if you want to know more about the film, you can sign up on cheapaffilm.com. My Instagram is adventure with Roy at and that's and yeah, that's probably the one. And I don't use Twitter. So yeah, the Instagram is
Who
probably
does?
the best one. So
Yeah.
Well, we do, but I
Well,
I,
yeah,
I, I
both
don't
do,
necessarily
but
require
well,
that of
yes.
our guests. Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, as we're closing out, got to remind everybody to follow us here, Roadmap Writers, on all the socials. Yes, even Twitter. Note how I called it Twitter, at Roadmap Writers, across all the platforms. And personally, I know we're all on socials. I'm Gabe_Theis on all the socials. Yes, even Twitter. But notice that I called it Twitter. You, Nicole?
Yeah.
I am at Tom Hanks is hot on everything.
And
I love that.
I am _GT Cruz on all the socials.
Okay.
And that concludes the inaugural episode of the Human First podcast. And we really encompassed everything thematically that we want this show to be about. So I have to thank you, Roy, for coming on, talking about your project and about all the, the humanity behind it, your story, your journey, emphasizing the human relationships. And, that's what we're about at Roadmap. That's why our motto is be a human first and a writer second. And if you're not familiar with Roadmap, if you're a screenwriter, a filmmaker, a producer looking to connect with people to make both genuine professional connections and build a community, then you can head over to roadmapwriters.com. Check out all of our services, the Career Writer Program, our open pitch sessions. We routinely do webinars. We have a blog section, and now we even have a podcast. But who doesn't?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Roy. We can't wait to see the film. I don't know if do you have an expected production timeline? Do you know roughly when it might come out?
we're shooting in September, which means that we'll probably be looking at entering the festival circuit, entering them at the end of next year, which means that 2027 will probably be kind of like when it will be out.
All right, well,
Okay.
make sure you go
Looking forward to
to
it.
cheapaf.com to stay updated on the production.
cheapaffilm.com.
cheapaffilm.com. I don't know what cheapaf.com is. Maybe don't.
It's probably cloud porn.
Yeah.
All right, and yeah, that's us here at Roadmap Writers signing out.
Bye.
Bye.